Batting fifth and playing center field, number 6, James Cole. Batting 6 and designating hitting, number 12, Bennett Wright. Batting 7th and playing first base, number 24, Vinny Franco. Batting 8th and playing right field, number 2, Cooper Chitsey. Batting 9th and playing second base, number 4, Max McCormick. Pitching for the Trojans is number 10, J.J. Velasquez. And please welcome the rest of the Anderson Trojans. The Anderson Trojans are led by head coach Matthews and assisting coach Salazar. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem. All right, play ball.
And as you just heard from our public address announcer just now, play balls. We get underway with play here at Nelson Field tonight in Austin, Texas, as we get ready for the Vype media coverage of today's game between the Crockett, you can tell how nervous I am right now, Crockett Cougars and the Anderson Trojans. Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening and good morning, wherever you may be watching. My name is Dalton Brown. I am filling in for Jack tonight here on the Vype Sports Media Network. And as we get ready for tonight's matchup here in Austin, Texas, a great matchup and a very cold night for baseball, as the weather doesn't seem to feel as much like spring break as much as it's like a winter night in Lubbock almost. So having to turn down that music for copyright purposes. But we get this thing underway here in just a moment. Pitching tonight for your Trojans, taking the mound is the right-handed pitcher J.J. Velasquez, number 10, who will be ready to get this thing underway. And he features a really solid fastball and some good breaking stuff we've seen in his warm-up so far, and it's going to be something to watch out for this Crockett offense. The starting lineup for the Crockett will be as follows. Crockett follows number 5, Ben Eskew at first base. Number 11, Evan Dominguez will be playing second. Jacob Cantu at shortstop. Yale Quintanilla will be the starting pitcher tonight, as Ari Dacey will be the designated hitter. And Knucklehorn will be the right fielder, wearing number 6. Jacob Henderson at center field. Rocky Rangel in left. Adrian Torres over.
Now batting number 5, Ben
as Eskew will come up to the plate. Torres is going to be playing catcher tonight right behind the dish. And Joel Ortega at third. So this game gets underway here as the first pitch is set and ready to go here from Austin, Texas. Of course, tonight's first pitch is sponsored by the Carlson Law Firm. This is our starting lineups. The first pitch by Perry Tags Florist is underway as we get ready for tonight's game, sponsored by the Lowy Law Firm. First pitch is swing and a miss, strike one, and we are underway with tonight's game, and that was tonight's Free Tags Florist first pitch. A good fastball right down the middle, cut and miss. Eskew try to take an early hack on that one. It takes another pitch for a strike two, trying to go for the high fastball in the inside corner, and there's an 0-2 count. A couple of good pitches already starting this count early on. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Outside corner, called strike three. A wonderful pitch there right on the outside corner. J.J. Velasquez really just pounding the corner on that one. Gets the first out of this game as Eskew goes down looking. So 3 pitches, 3 strikes to get this one underway. Here's Dominguez at the plate, who will chop this one back over to the first baseman. This could be a tough play here. Throw the first, and a nice play to get the second out. First pitch out. A good play there as number 24, Vinny Franco, had to charge that one a little bit, but got the ground out. Flip over just in time. So 2 up, 2 down, 4 pitches so far. And sets up a solid foundation for the Trojans. First pitch high and outside, ball 1-0 the count to Jacob Cantu, the left-handed hitting shortstop. Cantu waits for the approach. Here's the 1-0 by Velasquez. Cut on and miss right down the middle, strike one. And when you hit a dribble like that, especially in this cold of weather, you know that's going to sting. It's right out the end of the bat, and you know the vibration of these BB cords are always one that can't seem to go away. Here's the 1-1 on the outside, 2-1. He's trying to use that fastball to the advantage. He knows from the first at bat that the high fastball was getting chased, and he's trying to go right back to that, and unfortunately that time it was just a little more outside than he wanted to a left-handed batter. Here's the 2-1 pitch. High again, and he's really trying to approach that high fastball. Ball 3-1. Well, right now, if you're Cantu, you know you have to be sitting here fastball, as that's already been thrown multiple times in this at-bat, but also gotta watch out because he's shown the changeup so far a couple times in the first at-bat. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Inside corner, called strike two, as he's able to catch the corner on that one, and it's always a tough call as a hitter. You want to be swinging at anything close, but you also know you don't want to be swinging at ball 4, and that's a tough approach. So he works the count full. Here comes the payoff pitch. Called strike three, inning over, 3 up, 3 down, and Cantu's not too sure about that one, but regardless, it is a 3 up, 3 down inning, and Trojans will come to bat in this one. No runs, no hits, no errors, 2 strikeouts. We'll be right back right after this on the Vype Sports Media Network. And now with that, we can go ahead and introduce the starting lineup for the Crockett Cougars as they get set to take the field. Number 5, Ben Eskew will be playing first base. Number 11, Evan Dominguez will be at second. Jacob Cantu will be taking the mound in this one, getting ready to get this one started. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Jacob Cantu will be at shortstop. He's the one that struck out just now. Gail Quintanilla takes the mound in this one. He features a good amount of fastball and changeup stuff. Saw one of those breaking balls just a second ago that bends from the left down to the right. There it is again. It's a 12-6 curveball. Ari Dacey will be the designated hitter. Ian Knucklehorn will be the right fielder. Jacob Henderson at center. Rocky Rangel at left. Adrian Torres, the catcher, behind the dish. And Joel Artega, I should say, will be at third base for this one. So, looking to make a bit of a recovery splash on this one, as Crockett went down. First strikeout, 3 pitches. Second was a ground out right to first base on the first pitch. Then a 6-pitch strikeout that had the count from 3-1 down to 3-2, and then eventually 2 pitches looked at for strikes. Were strikes. And leading off in this one will be number 14, Patrick Candela.
Now that is number 14, Connor Como.
Excuse me, I had a little bit of a mess up on my side. Correction, number 14. Connor. So here's Connor Delia. Here's Connor's first pitch, and that's a good pitch. Breaking ball for a strike. 0-1. Quintanilla starts this one early with a curveball on the inside corner, just trying to show the breaking stuff early on. Now let him sit fastball and get a swinging drive pitch. Here's the 0-1 to Connor. Connor takes outside. It's a ball, 1-1. Connor loading up, trying to find a pitch that he's going to drive here. Here's a 1-1 count pitch. Line drive in the right field, foul into the stands, so they will try this one again, a 1-2 count. Just early on the timing on that one, he found the changeup down the middle. He turned on it, and he knew what he wanted to do with it and just pulled it much foul. It's like when you play MLB The Show and you swing early on in an online game with your buddies on a duo ranked game, and time called. Well, Donahue is trying to work a pitch count early on in this one. Make it tough for Quintanilla to get out of this one. Quintanilla trying to mess up the timing here. Going from the stretch. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Popped up to the third base side. I believe this will go out of play, and it will, hitting the tarp. And the count will remain 1-2. And I'm just now noticing there's actually a white striped line down the third base line that actually determines whether the ball's in play or not. Getting first time here at Nelson Field, so trying to understand some of the ground rules at the same time. There's a giant hill from center to right, kind of like Taos Hill in Houston. Here's the 1-2 pitch. This time he gets it in fair territory, chops it on the first base off the glove and goes down, and he'll reach first safely. And we'll see if they'll score that a hit. That ball was a line drive shot. Scorching over the number 5, Ben Eskew. And we'll have a moment here. I bet you they're going to rule that a single, as that ball was just hit hard off the bat and tough hop, but the fact that Eskew was able to get up, make a stop on that ball, was impressive enough, especially in this kind of weather. I believe they're going to go ahead and rule that a single. So we'll take a short moment here. Like we mentioned, it is about 41 degrees here in Austin, Texas, and a substitution will be made. So Eskew will come out of this game, and in his place, coming in to take over, is going to be number 21, Brody Wallace. So Wallace will take that spot. And you just got to feel for the guy. Like we said, it's really cold out here, and no matter what, you're trying to feel a ground ball like that at that kind of speed. You're trying to avoid it from hitting any part of the glove or even the part of your body that could take enough damage. And we all appreciate the wonderful folks here in Austin. So anyways, Brody's going to come out of this one, or Brody's going to come into this one. Brody Wallace will be subbed in at first base for Ben Eskew. And runners going to second. Here's the plan. They're trying to say there was a balk. No, there is a balk. Okay. So balk was called on that play, so he'll automatically move to second. Here's Derek Paez at the plate. Paez playing catcher today. Here's the first pitch he'll see, and it's on the outside, 1-0. Quintanilla has really been trying to approach the outside. He's got a lefty-oriented lineup on the way. When you got a righty-lefty matchup, it's always tough to adjust to that, especially when you got a lot of them. Here's a 1-0. 5-0 coming right towards us. And right over, and it will be a strike, 1-1. Well, this kind of reminds me of when I was calling softball at Texas Tech and a foul ball came in my direction as a color commentator. I was able to snag it. That was right before we signed that girl to a $2 million NIL deal. So, you know, that was back when the student radio station was still necessary for softball. So it's 1-1 count here. Quintanilla will once again go from the stretch. Here's the 1-1. High pitch, and they're going to say no swing, 2-1 the count. Pays. Donahue at second, taking a nice solid lead. Here's the 2-1. Outside again into the other batter's box, swing and miss, strike 2, 2-2 the count. Again, like we said, a lefty-oriented lineup. You're trying to adjust to that because that is not something that a lot of right-handed pitchers are used to at this level. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Curveball high, 3-2. He tried to throw in the deuce there. Let go of it a little too high that time, and it dropped in still above the zone, and it's 3-2 the count. It's a good pitch option, but just slipped right off the fingers. Payoff pitch on the way. Goes right back to the changeup. This will be outside, ball 4. So runners on first and second with nobody out. A base hit and a walk brings up Hank Rippey. And once again, lefties on lefties. When you got 3 straight lefties coming up, that's really going to throw off a pitcher's arsenal. Uh-oh.
Hey, watch out. Sorry, don't watch out tripping.
Well, anyways, here's Hank Rippey at the plate. Runners on first and second. Nobody out. Here's the first pitch on the stretch. Changeup right down the middle. Called for a strike. 0-1. Rippey was assigned the right fielder job in this game. Excuse me, actually, that's his number, my bad. It appears he's actually the shortstop for this one, so left-handed hitting Trying to read these numbers on the list, and that does in fact say that he is actually Rippey's actually the third baseman, so a left-handed hitting third baseman. Here's the pitch outside of the right-handed batter's box, called for a ball, 1-1. We see that Quintanilla's been using a lot of his arsenal already, so we've seen all three of the main pitches, fastball, changeup, curveball, that he's been throwing in this one, and see how he's been able to make that work. From the stretch, here's the 1-1. High fly ball in the right field. And unable to come away with this one. This drops right behind for a base hit. Rounding third and heading for the plate is Donahue, and he will come in to score the game's first run. It is 1-0 on a Hank Rippey base hit that just went high into the lights. It is a 1-0 game in this one.
Number 8, Kaysen.
Yeah, no, right. So right fielder Ian Knucklehorn was unable to find that in the lights as that ball was just hit high into the wrong side. He got underneath it for a little bit but could not get it from out of the lights. And it makes it a 1-0 game early on in this one. So Anderson draws first blood. It is 1-0, and stepping into the plate now is number 8, Cade Kazin. Walking out to Billy Joel's Uptown Girl. And pickoff move over to second, not in time. Still 1-0 in this one, and go from a single, a walk, and a base hit to right field into the lights. Chopper over the shortstop, gets a bad hop. Nice play by the shortstop, adjusting to it. Throw to first, and low throw gets away. And one run will come in to score in this one. It is a 2-0 game. Anderson on a fielding error. Actually, it's going to be a base hit with a throwing error, as it was just hard hit. Hard shot base hit on that one. Scores in a run. Suddenly we got ourselves an early 2-0 game, still no outs. Here's James Cole. And runners on second and third now. Got an open base at first with no outs. So the corners are going to be drawn in on this one. Shortstop and second base will still play in their position. Here's the first pitch on the stretch. Wild pitch gets away. And a runner will come in to score, and it is 3-0 as Hank Rippey comes in to score on that one. That wild pitch into the inside part. And suddenly Anderson has a 3-0 lead. I mean, if you're Quintanilla right now, you know that you had a couple of hard hit plays and tough hits that probably could have been made for outs. So as a pitcher, you're trying to recuperate, get back in the right mindset, and continue to throw strikes in this one. Here's the 1-0. Pitch right down the middle, changeup for a strike and a 1-1 count. Good recovery pitch right there. He's just trying to show the off-speed stuff, try and keep it within the zone and make sure he's still getting some contact on it, but nothing that he wants into the outfield. So you still want to get these batters to swing it. You don't want to take that away from them, but you also want to make sure that you're still establishing less contact. And this one's going to go in, and also passed ball on this one. And coming in to score is Cade Kazin, I should say, excuse me, as he scores on the wild pitch. It is 4-0 in this one, and Anderson goes from runners on second and third to no runners on base and a 2-1 count. I think that one just slightly got away from him as he tried to throw inside. I think just try and keep it as a tough pitch to hit, and unfortunately it slipped away and went a little more in. Here's the 2-1. Another high and inside pitch, that time the fastball, 3-1. The count to James Cole. So here's a 3-1 pitch from the stretch. This one's going to be low and outside, hitting the ground, and that will be drawn a walk. So he goes to the fastball on the outside. He spiked it a little much, and that'll be a walk. So 2 walks and 3 hits given up, along with an error. Bringing up Bennett Wright. So Wright will come up with the runner on first, nobody out. He's seen from the circle, the pitch arsenal of Quintanilla. And runner's going to go, first pitch, and this is low and outside, and easily taking second base on that one is James Cole. So Cole will get a stolen base on that one as he went right away on the first pitch. Low, was able to cruise into second standing, and now you got a runner in scoring position. Wright, the designated hitter in this one. Here's the 1-0 pitch. He's going to go again, this time outside for a ball. He slides in safely, and that's a second stolen base for James Cole, who stole on back-to-back pitches and goes from first base to now 90 feet away from scoring, opening this up to a 5-0 game. And you got to feel good right now as Wright. You know, now you have that RBI opportunity going from 270 to 90 feet away. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Low and inside, ball 3-0. He went for the changeup on that one. And a tough angle. As a pitcher, that's what you want to execute, the low inside corner. Force him to pop up into the infield, and he did that, but it was just a little more low. 3-0 pitch on the way. And taking that off the back is Wright, as he'll be hit by a pitch, and now it's going to be runners on the corners with nobody out.
Now batting number 24, Vinny Franco.
So here comes Vinny Franco at the plate now. Franco, the right-handed hitting first baseman, with an opportunity here with 2 runners on base. Corners open. First pitch. Tacks at the first pitch and hits it foul. Back behind the screen, 0-1 the count. Like we mentioned here, it is a cold night. Feeling like Lubbock in the winter. As a Texas Tech student, you know that this is the kind of weather you'd never like to walk in heading to class about a mile away from wherever you stayed. Here's the 0-1 to Franco. Franco takes an inside fastball for a ball, 1-1. Quintanilla trying to force him off the plate. Not let him get too comfortable in this one. Quintanilla coming in from the stretch. Here's the 1-1. Just outside, but hitting the corner for a strike and 1-2 count. Pumping that fastball in the high outside corner, a good pitch location. Able to do damage with it and forcing a count now to 2 strikes. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Popped up. Shortstop and second base trying to call this one. As the shortstop making the play on that one, getting the first out, as
Number 2, Cooper.
shortstop Jacob Cantu gets that one. And that's a relief for Cantu, of course, or Quintanilla, I should say. As a pitcher, when you get up a few runs, you know that first out is always critical to momentum. So getting that is always a reliever, as getting Franco out the big one. Yeah, first pitch as he's going, and this one is low to the pitcher, and that's probably the best play possible. Yeah, throwing on that one to second is always a risky one, because you know that a runner from third is going to be going more than likely, forcing in that run. Here's Cooper Chisty at the plate. He's got runners on second and third, 1 out. Here's a line drive into center field. This one's going to go back. It's going to be over to center field's head, and it'll run all the way to the wall. 1 run scores. Another run will come to the plate. Jesse will route second, head for third. Here he comes. And the coach is going to round him. Here he goes for the plate. Here's the relay throw. Not in time, and inside the park. Home run. Cooper Chisty Opens this game up 7-0. And it was Cooper Chitsey lining one out to deep center field, getting one over the center fielder's head in a good spot and able to sneak it right past for a big base hit, turning it into an inside the park home run over the center fielder's head, Jacob Henderson. A 3-run home run. And now it is a 7-0 ball game. Well, here's Max McCormick at the plate now, and the confidence has risen sky high in this one. 1-0 pitch. Low and outside, but called for a strike. 1-1 as Quintanilla has now faced the entire batting order in the first inning. 1 out, so we will bat around in this inning. Here's a 1-1 pitch by Quintanilla. Low and outside, fastball called for a ball. 2-1. For those of y'all that don't know, the crew for this one, Merle Bertrand, our broadcasting director, Suda Venkat, our product manager, and Skylar Gillespie, our quality analyst, making sure that every part of this broadcast is running smoothly as that pitch is on the outside corner, called for a strike. 2-2. McCormick now looking at 2 strikes in this one. Watch those 4 pitches go by. Here comes a 2-2 pitch by Quintanilla from the stretch. Chops this one foul back behind the plate, and we'll do it again. 2-2. Talking about that home run yet again. That was a fastball that Chitsey was able to get up and in. Pull it out to center field. And it's 392 out there to center field, but when you're playing with that hill, it could definitely make an effect on the fielder's arm. Here's a 2-2. Inside, over his head, 3-2 the count. And as a pitcher, you know that when you've seen the entire lineup that you need to make an adjustment early on in the first inning. You just want to get out of the first inning. That is a big thing as a starting pitcher with something like this happening. 3-2 pitch. High and ball 4 as Chitsey gives up another walk in this one. That's his second walk of the game. And it'll force the lineup to come back around. The runner on first as Connor Dundo will come back up to the plate. First time up, he was able to get a base hit and score on it, forcing an early rally that brought us to this point. So earlier in the inning, base hit, scoring the first run of this game. As Quintanilla steps off and forces the runner back, McCormick gets back in time. Taking a small lead is McCormick. Here comes the first pitch. McCormick's going to go. Pitch called a strike. Throw to second. Not in time. As Max McCormick is able to get a stolen base in this one and get over to second. Trying to make some adjustments here. Here's the only one to Dunno. Pitch high for a ball, 1-1. Donahue able to work counts in this one. And once again, you got 3 lefties in this lineup, back to back to back. So that always makes it tough. Here's a 1-1. Fouled back behind the plate. We'll do it again. 1-2 the count now to Donahue. For those of y'all tuning in for the World Baseball Classic, Italy and Venezuela playing tonight for the chance to play for the championship against the United States, who were able to take down the Dominican Republic 2-1. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Inside for a ball as it's dropped, and McCormick will head to third standing on a pass ball. And for the second time in this one, runner goes from first to third in the same at-bat. And a 2-2 count to Donahue. Heading in from the stretch, here's the 2-2 pitch. Strike three, and he got him swinging. Drop ball, he'll have to throw the first and collect it. And he's able to get it the first in time. 2 away, and that is always a confidence booster there as a pitcher. Even when you're giving up the amount of runs, you're able to get a strikeout and force that batter to go back packing. It is always a good feeling. 2 outs, runner at third, and stepping up is Derek Paez. Here's the pitch to Paez, and it's a curveball for a strike, 0-1, and a good 12-6 action. Going from the left-handed batter's box down to the outside corner, and an 0-1 count. Quintanilla looking to get out of this inning. Here's the 0-1. Popped up behind the screen, foul, 0-2. This one goes out of play into the bus stop the bus parking lot. So we can probably say that ball's more than likely gone unless there's a way to get in there. It's an 0-2 count. Tell you what, the World Baseball Classic has really brought some of the biggest upsets in sports recently, with Italy taking down Puerto Rico, Venezuela sending the defending champions Japan home, and suddenly we got ourselves a exciting ball game. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Curveball, swing and a miss, strike three, and that will retire the side, but not before giving up 7 runs, including a big 3-run home run by Cooper Chitsey, and that will end this inning. So 7 runs on 5 hits, 2 errors, 2 strikeouts though for Quintanilla. So we'll take a short break here on the Vype Sports Media Network and be right back with some more action right after that. Trojans baseball on the Vype Sports Media Network. We return here, top of the second inning, a 7-0 game in this one, as Trojans able to do some damage early on in this one. A 3-run homer was the capping point of that by Cooper Chitsey, making it that 7-0 ball game and leading us here. Took one time batting around the order and eventually bringing us to the top of this inning. J.J. Velasquez comes back into this one with a solid lead. A huge pillow coming into this one. And as a pitcher, that is such a confidence booster there. You know that, like, you can kind of experiment a little bit. You can pitch around your count. You can try and do some different things. See if you can get these players off balance without possibly wasting too big a pitch count or bringing in too much of a deficit loss. First pitch fouled to the first base side. This one will go out of play, strike 1. So here's Quintanilla at the plate, who's off now after giving up 7 runs and an opportunity for some revenge here. Second pitch, fastball down the middle for a strike, 0-2 to Quintanilla. Always heading to the plate as a pitcher, especially after giving up a few runs, is always tough, especially for your confidence. You know, you just want that booster right back, and you want an opportunity to make an impact for your team in some way. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Changeup, strike 3, swung on miss, 3 pitches, 1 out. Right to the point for J.J. Velasquez, who's able to get that strikeout on 3 pitches, and that's the second time he's done that this game. And striking out the opposing pitcher is always
Number 3.
a confidence booster in itself. So here's Larry Dacey at the plate, the designated hitter. As the weather tends to get colder and colder, blankets coming out, jackets coming out. Like we mentioned before, this is not spring break like you would imagine in Texas. Velasquez first pitch, fouled off the mask, 0-1 the count. Pay's able to take that one right off the mask and not feel much damage, almost like Superman on that one. Velasquez delivers from the stretch, or from the windup. From the windup, here's an 0-1 pitch. Fastball on the outside corner for a strike. 0-2. Dacey kind of made a late decision to swing at that one. Wasn't quite sure where that one was headed. It's one of those swings where you just know you missed it early on and you're just trying to finish through. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Dacey. Setting up outside. Strike 3, swung on and missed. Fastball on the inside part of the plate. 3 pitches again, 2 up, 2 down. And that's Velasquez's 4th strikeout of the game as he is dialing in early on in this one. And quite frankly, 3 pitches early on that were very solid. First one was right down the middle, tipped off the catcher's mitt. Second one on the outside part of the plate, going a little off speed, then just dialing in the fastball for the strikeout. 2 gone. Which brings up Ian Nicole as he takes a first pitch for a strike on the outside corner, 0-1. From the windup, here's the 0-1. On the outside corner, called strike 2. But that's 8 strikes so far. Going back into the windup. Setting up on the outside. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Strike 3. How about that? It's an immaculate inning for Velasquez. 3 up, 3 down, 5 strikeouts in this one. 9 pitches. J.J. Velasquez setting the tone early in this one. We will go to the bottom of the second. The score still 7-0. No runs, no hits, no errors, 9 pitches. Right back here on the Vype Sports Media Network. Well, how about this defense and offense for the Trojans. J.J. Velasquez setting the tone early, striking out 5 of the 6 first batters he's faced, including an immaculate inning in the second. He's had 4 strikeouts for 3 pitches. One of them was a strikeout on a 3-2 count for 6 pitches and a ground out on the first pitch. So Velasquez not necessarily worried about his pitch count in this one, as he's only thrown a total of 19 pitches through 2 innings. So coming back out of the mound, number 9, Gail Quintanilla, will stay in this one, trying to recover from his last inning. He struck out a part of that immaculate inning, so an opportunity to try and recoup. Here's Hank Rippey, RBI single in the first inning and scored a run as well. Here's the 0-1. Excuse me, getting ahead of myself. First pitch of the inning is a line drive in the left field. This will fall down for a base hit and possibly even more to get past the left fielder's glove. He will turn and head for second, and he will cruise into second base with a double. Nice piece of hitting there by Hank Rippey. As his second at bat, he's able to get himself a double and start this inning off at second base. Good piece of hitting there. He's just able to poke that one out to the left side and get it right past the left fielder and cruise into second base early on. Now he's 180 feet from scoring the game's 8th run. Here's Kate Kazin at the plate. Single and an error in the first inning and scored a run later on. Fly ball in the center field. Chasing back is the center fielder way back there, and this one will fall and head to the wall off the hill. Rounding second and heading for third is Kazin, and coming in to score is Hank Rippey, and he's able to score on that one. It is an RBI triple for Kate Kazin. It is an 8-0 ball game. So Kazin able to get an RBI triple out of that one as he ripped that son of a gun to center field for a base hit and more. This is an 8-0 game. Bringing in James Cole at the plate. He walked his first at bat, stole 2 bases, and later scored on the 3-run homer. First pitch outside for a ball, 1-0. Here's the 1-0 by Quintanilla. Popped up, out of play over to the first base side, 1-1 the count. And we can hear somebody listening in to the Italy versus Venezuela game. Italy with an opportunity to go to the World Baseball Classic Championship for the first time in the country's history. Here's the 1-1. Curveball high, 2-1 the count to James Cole. Nobody out, bottom of the second, 8-0 game. Austin traffic looming in the background. Quintanilla from the stretch, and he spikes this one low for a ball, and the runner will not advance on that one. You just saw when that ball released, it was spiking off the ground, and luckily didn't get too far away to get Kazin to score. Cole will make it a 3-1 count. Walked on 5 pitches last at bat. Had a 3-1 count of his own. Here's the 3-1 pitch. This one is outside to the other batter's box, and he'll walk for a second time.
Now batting, number 12, Bennett Wright.
As Bennett Wright will come back to the plate once again. 2 runners on for Wright. Well, that has an opportunity. Actually, last time he had a runner on base, he was hit by a pitch in that at bat, forcing 2 on. So now he's got runners on the corners. Nobody out. Here's Quintanilla's first pitch to him, low and inside for a ball, 1-0. Quintanilla went right for the fastball in that one in the inside corner. Spiked it a little too much. Trying to get warm out here, so that's why it sounds like I'm almost stuttering when I speak every now and then. Here's a 1-0 by Quintanilla. Curveball is high fly ball in the left field. Chasing in is the left fielder who's going to go in for it. Makes the catch. Tagging up and not going to score is Kazin, as he will remain at third.
Franco.
So Benny White with a pop out to left field. Making it 1 out in this one. That's a nice play there by Rocky Rangel as he was able to come in on that ball and realize he needed it just quickly and reach down and make the catch and fire it in quickly to avoid that run from coming in. Solid play by the left fielder. Here's Vinny Franco at the plate, popped out to the shortstop. His first at bat, takes ball 1-0 on the curveball. Quintanilla this entire game has gone from the stretch. He's found more comfort there. Runner goes, strike. Excuse me, that's a ball in the outside corner, 2-0. And his third stolen base of the game now for James Colas. He has been a speed machine out there, putting himself in scoring position on his own. Now you got 2 runners on, both in scoring position now. Franco had this opportunity last inning. Looks to capitalize here. Here's a 2-0. Franco takes that curveball that goes from his batter's box to the inside corner for a strike, 2-1. Well, Quintanilla's been pounding that curveball a lot this game, and when it works, it works. You see that movement from one box to another. Here's the 2-1. Change up for a ball, 3-1. As for the at-bat for Bennett Wright, I mean, he got underneath that ball, and it looked like for a second it was going to fly for days, but of course this cold weather and slight breeze brought it right back in. Here's a 3-1. Outside for a ball as Vinny Franco will draw the walk, bringing in Cooper Chitsey to the plate. Franco able to draw the walk on this one. Bases loaded. Cooper Chitsey at the plate. Last at bat had that inside the park home run to center field, deep center field. 392, including a hill like Houston's old Towels Hill that used to be in center field, but this one starts from center and goes all the way to right field. See the elevation towards the parking lot. Here's the first pitch to Chitsey. Goes for the curveball, good pitch, but just above the zone, 1-0 the count. Quintanilla been in a tough spot all game, facing a lefty-oriented lineup and a lineup in to swing the bat. Been able to execute. Trojans up 8-0 in this one. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Inside for a ball. Nice stop by the catcher, able to stop that runner from advancing. Adrian Torres with a nice stop on that one. He was able to get in front of it, not force it out of play. Two 2-0 count. Here's the pitch. Another high curveball, ball 3-0 as Chitsey has seen 3 straight pitches go for balls. Like we said before, a lot of this game, Quintanilla's curveball started a little much higher, a little too far outside, but when it's right, it is right. The pitch is just inside, goes to a changeup for a ball, and he will walk in a run. An RBI walk for Cooper Chitsey. It is a 9-0 game now for the Trojans. Scoring 2 runs in this one, bring it back up, Max McCormick. McCormick walked in his last at-bat, stole a base, but was left stranded at the end of the inning. First pitch low for a ball, 1-0. And it appears head coach in this one does not have a bullpen going, nor does it look like he has necessarily too many guys warming up in this inning, so it appears that Quintanilla was going to try and finish this inning out. Here's the 1-0 pitch to McCormick. This one's outside, curveball for a ball, 2-0. That time the curveball started on the outside corner and eventually just broke into the left-handed batter's box. And there is movement on that curveball. There is a lot of it, too. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Inside low for a ball, 3-0. That time he went for the changeup and was unable to get that one over the plate. And you have to wonder if part of it maybe have to do with the weather. Trying to grip that ball is always tough when you have a 30-degree outlook. This time a curveball is executed for a strike, 3-1. So McCormick, who drew a walk last time, is now looking at another 3-1 count where he will probably be looking to swing here. You know that Quintanilla knows he has to pound the strike zone. Here's the 3-1. This time it's outside for a ball, drawing in another walk and another run.
Number 14, Connor Como.
McCormick now has walked twice and driven in a run with a walk. And the bases remain loaded in a 10-0 ball game. And the lineup will be set back to the beginning once again as leadoff hitter Connor Donahue will come back up to the plate. He singled and struck out in this one, scored a run earlier in his first at-bat of the first inning. Torres and Quintanilla do a quick little mound visit. Just trying to get the confidence right back in. 10 runs given up, 8 of them earned by Quintanilla. Tough start in this one. First pitch to Donahue. Inside, almost hits him, but he's able to get out of the way of that one for a ball, 1-0.
Got it. Thank you.
Correction is Como, and that's of course on me. Apparently my reading skills are not the best. I went to tech, guys. I didn't learn how to read. Alright, relax. 2-0 the count. I tell people that all the time. I even told the people at my wedding that same case whenever me and my wife got married. Also, it doesn't help. There's a bit of a mix-up on jerseys too. So my lineup card versus my roster was a bit mixed up. Here's a drive into the gap in left center field, deep left center field, and no one's going to get to that. It's off the base of the wall. Run scores, 2-run scores, rounding third and heading for the plate. Here's the throw, and no throw into the plate. He'll get in standing. A 3-run double by Connor Cano. A 3 RBI double. He's able to work an early count, and there will be a mound visit and trying to stabilize Quintanilla and get a little bit of more grip on the ball. That was a nice solid 3 RBI double. He was able to line that one in the gap in left center field. Nobody was able to get to that one. Scoring 3 on that one is a 13-0 game for the Trojans. It's Connor Como, by the way. That also makes more sense. I appreciate the fans here for helping out on that one, as there was a bit of a mix-up on jerseys. Also, wider scouts here, apparently. So that first pitch is low and inside and will hit the backstop. And Como will advance and head to third on that one. So here's Derek Pies at the plate. Walked in his first at-bat, struck out in the second one swinging. Como, first 90 feet away. Hayes will hit this one foul, 1-1 the count. Like we said, first inning 7 runs, second inning 6, and so far still 1 out in this one. An opportunity here to match the first inning totals. Here's a 1-1. Curveball, a little far inside, 2-1 the count. And of course tonight's game, like we mentioned, this cold game is sponsored tonight as a line drive base hit, RBI single. Lally Law Firm is the sponsor of tonight's game, as Hayes is able to get a piece of that one in the right field and get an RBI single. It is a early 15-0 game on that one. He's able to rip that into left field for a base hit. Now it looks like we got ourselves a substitution here. Coming into this game now. Pinch hit is number 30, Connor Smith. So got the right Connor now, I could say, as there had been a mix-up for most of the game. So Connor Smith will come in for Hank Rippey to pinch hit, with a runner on first and 1 out. And going into pinch run now is Blake Gilligan over at first. So here comes a pinch hitter, Smith. Quintanilla still on the mound on this one, and he'll call timeout. So far, this game has been a large blowout for the Trojans. Came into this game swinging. Here's the first pitch by Quintanilla. Change up low. Ball 1-1 to Smith. Now, don't have any stat sheets on any of these guys, unfortunately, so I would like to say what these guys are batting or what their totals are, but I don't have any of that, unfortunately. So no filler information on that part. Here's the 1-0 to Smith. Curveball low, 2-0 the count to Connor Smith. 1 out, bottom of the second. Still 14-0 in this one. Runner on first. And of course, I'm thinking during the third inning we will do our segment of Today in Texas History presented by OnThisDay.com, which is what I usually do for my football and basketball coverage. Here's the 2-0 to Connor. This one's outside. Gets away from Torres as runner will get in the second on that pass ball. Blake Gilligan able to get in standing. Smith forcing a 3-0 count. So number 30 with a 3-0 count. Pretty ironic on that one. Quintanilla goes in from the stretch. Here's the 3-0 pitch. Outside for a ball. And drawing the walk in his pinch hitting at bat is Caden Smith. And another pinch hitter coming into this one. Number 28, pinch hitter Evan Thakar, who will come in for Kate Kazin. Apparently I'm sounding loud on the mic, but that of course mainly might have to do with the wind coming in from behind. Here's the first pitch. Fastball in the outside corner. Called for a strike, 0-1. So Kazin, after getting a base hit and a triple, will be pinch hit for Evan Thakar. Trying to get other kids the opportunity to play in this one with this blowout lead. Pitch outside corner, called for a strike, 0-2. Quintanilla with a runner on first and second. Already has 2 Ks in the game. And did he go? They're going to say he did not go as his pitch was low for a ball 1-2. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Outside corner, called strike 3. Thalkar goes down looking. Quintanilla has his 3rd strikeout of the game. And there's now 2 away. And that is the pitch that you want to throw with that at bat. And now pinch hitting is number 20, Ben Hatcher now. In place for James Kohler, looks like. Hatcher takes the first pitch for a strike, 0-1. Next pitch is outside for a ball. This one gets away from Torres as 2 runners advance on a pass ball as a 1-1 count to Hatcher, and of course pinch hitting as well is number 17, Charlie Arnold. So Arnold will come in for Bennett Wright, and an opportunity here for the guys on the bench to make an impact on this one. Here's a 1-1 count. Pitch inside, changeup, swung on and missed for a strike, 1-2. Quintanilla able to pound the strike zone now, even with a 14-0 lead, and of course head coach more than likely just letting him finish this inning out, trying to avoid more damage. Here's the 1-2. Curveball outside, called for a ball, 2-2, just off the corner on that one. It's a good pitch there over to Hatcher, who watched that pitch go from the middle of the plate to the outside corner, but umpire calling that on the outer part of the plate. Here's a line drive to second base, and it's a base hit in the outfield grass. 1 run scores, rounding third and heading for the plate and scoring this game's 16th run is Connor Smith. Here we go, 16-0 in this blowout game. An RBI base hit for Ben Hatcher, able to make an impact off the bench. A 2 RBI single, which was just grounded right past the first and second baseman. And suddenly this game turns to 16-0. Here's Charlie Arnold at the plate, pinch hitting for Bennett Wright. First pitch is a strike on the outside corner, in the count 0-1 to Arnold. Checking the runner back to first. Nothing going there. Here's the 0-1. Fastball the outside part of the plate to the left-handed batter's box for a ball, 1-1. Of course, what we saw in that first and second inning was an offensive show for the Trojans. Pitch hitting the plate, 2-1 the count to Arnold. Quintanilla has now given up 16 runs in this one. He struck out 3. He has the strikeout stuff, but the Trojans, of course, also looked at that arsenal early on. 2-1 pitch. Ground ball to shortstop. Past the diving shortstop for a base hit. And Arnold will get a pinch hit single in this one. Runners on first and second, as that one just got right past Jacob Cantu, trying to lean over and make a Jeter play on that, but unable to come away with the ball in the first place, which brings in another pinch hitter. That will more than likely do it, as what happened here? So we'll take a short break here on the Vype Sports Media Network. I think there might have been an intentional out somewhere to go ahead and end this inning. So 16-0 to score in this one. We'll be right back here on the Vype Sports Media Network. It is not a mercy rule, according to UIL rules, not until the fourth inning. So nothing much doing there. So we'll be right back here on the Vype Sports Media Network with more coverage of Trojans baseball. 9 runs given up in that second inning. Keith Ania able to get a strikeout and a pop out to left field, but other than that, unable to get that last out. So we'll take a short break here. We'll be right back right after this. So we were able to understand what had happened to end the bottom half of that inning is runner made an intentional move to head to first. It was Ben Hetcher who actually ran over to third and made the intentional out to end the bottom half of the inning. So sending us to the top of the third inning. First pitch is a ball, and after an immaculate inning and 5 strikeouts, J.J. Velasquez starts this one with a ball, 1-0. So here's Jacob Henderson at the plate. Inside for a ball, 2-0. Correction, that's actually left fielder Rocky Rangel at the plate. So there might have been a bit of a mix-up here in hitters. Here's a pitch to Rocky. As this one is outside corner, I should say. Called for a strike on the fastball. 1-1. 2-1, excuse me. As I'm trying to find some warmth here in Austin, Texas, in what feels like the Arctic. As this one is just outside, missed the zone for a ball, 3-1 the count. Velasquez took about 30 minutes of sitting down before coming back to the mound in this one, as the offense was steamrolling in this one. Here's a 3-1 pitch. Fouled back behind the plate. Now we got ourselves a full count here, 3-2. Rocky Rangel making a couple of good plays out in left field earlier. Made a catch on a high pop-up and a good throw to stop a run from scoring. Saw a lot of action out there too. Velasquez gets a full count from the windup. Payoff pitch on the way. High pitch for a ball, as he'll draw a walk and head to first base. Rocky Rangel able to be the first Cougar base runner in this one, so after going 6 up, 6 down, he reaches safely. Well, here's catcher Adrian Torres at the plate. Who had seen a lot of action from behind the plate. Here's the first pitch. Foul ball back behind the first base side, and strike one, 0-1 the count. Torres has had a long game tonight. I mean, you've been squatting behind the plate for 35 minutes of first inning, about 30 the second inning. You go to the plate, you got to understand how much time that is behind the plate for this guy. Here's the 0-1 count, pitch to Torres. Velasquez throws it inside, a little bit of sweet chin music there, 1-1 count. He blows that fastball up and in and trying to get Torres uncomfortable early on. Velasquez has a good fastball too. He's got a good heater behind that. It's about at least solid 80s. Mid-80s fastball. Here's a 1-1 to Torres. Line drive, caught, nice play, and a double play! Doing it himself! The unassisted double play. Will Livingston over there at first base making the substitution. What a play by Livingston! And as a first baseman, that's a confidence booster. You come into the game, and early on you make a play yourself. Line drive to your right side, diving to your knees to make the catch, and standing up and tagging first for the double play. What a play by Will Livingston. 2 away. Chopper over the third base side, and this will go out of play, foul, 0-1. So here's Joel Ortega at the plate, the third baseman in this one. Here's the 0-1. Curveball for a ball, 1-1. A good breaking ball there, going in from the right-handed batter's box into the inside corner, but just missing for a ball. Got to go back to that play by Livingston, though. That is a scorching line drive, and he knows that though it is a blowout game, this is an opportunity for him to get some playing time and make an impact. And he does exactly that. That is a confidence booster as a first baseman. That's always something you got to pat yourself on the back for when you make a double play yourself. Here's the 2-1. Pitched right down the middle, called for a strike, fastball, 2-2, the count to Ortega. 2 outs, top of the third, 16-0 game. Ortega looking to shut the door down on this one. And time called as Ortega takes a moment trying to regroup. 2-2 pitch. Change up high for a ball, 3-2 the count to Ortega as he did not go. And if you're wondering about the mercy rule of the UIL, it is a 10-run rule after 5 innings or 4.5. So if the home team has more than 10 after 4.5, they win the ball game automatically. Here's the 3-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Ortega goes down. Velasquez with his 6th strikeout of the game. No runs, no hits, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. Another 3-up, 3-down inning for J.J. Velasquez. And we will go to a quick commercial break as we go into the bottom half of this inning. The score, your Trojans lead 16-0. Anderson coming to bat. So we head into the bottom of the third in this one. Trojans baseball live on the Vype Sports Media Network. Quintanilla remains in this one. We saw the bullpen get working just a second ago. So we might see a pitching change later on in this inning. Warming up was number 12, Jacob Cantu, the shortstop. So we'll definitely might see a bit of a pitching change later on in this one. And coming up to the plate, leading off in this inning, is actually the guy that made that unassisted double play just a second ago, Will Livingston. Livingston, of course, pinch hitting for Vinny Franco, guy who's one number above him. So Franco went 0 for 1 with a pop-up to shortstop and a walk earlier. Quintanilla back to work. First pitch, curveball down the middle for a strike. 0-1 the count to Livingston. Livingston looks like from here he's using a wood bat. Or at least it looks like that. Here's the 0-1. Pitch on the outside corner, called for a strike, using the fastball on that one. 0-2 the count to Livingston. Quintanilla starting this one early on, just pounding the zone. Getting his sign. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Livingston. Curveball, a line drive to right center field into the gap, and it's going to be a base hit for Will Livingston, coming off the bench, making a defensive play and getting a knock of his own. A leadoff single for Will Livingston. And of course, that is just a solid piece of hitting there by Will, getting an 0-2 pitch on the outside part of the plate. It was the curveball yet again, and he's able to just drive that to right center field and get on first base with a base hit. Pitch high, but swung on and missed for a strike. 0-1 the count. So here's the pinch hitter, number 13, Kevin Ortega. This pitch is outside for a ball, and running the second base, I should say, is Will Livingston, able to get on. So 1-1 count. Ortega looking to join in on the pinch hitting base hit parade. Here's a pitch outside for another ball, and this one will get back to the backstop. 2-1 as Livingston will remain at second. Yeah, and of course, in a game like this, you don't really want to advance on stolen bases or wild pitches. You kind of just want to take it easy. I remember a game like this, playing for the Austin Royals. Your coach always tells you, don't show up the other team. You have a lead like this. Get your base hits and don't do too much. Don't want to show up too much. Here's a 2-1 count. Popped up. The second baseman and right fielder calling for it as he racing back. And this one will drop down for a base hit and get past the other fielders. But of course he'll only remain at one base for the meantime, as Kevin Ortega able to pop one over to the perfect part of right field in between the second baseman and right fielder. Runners on the corners now. Nobody out. And now Connor Donahue, actual Connor Donahue at the plate. I've been calling this guy the wrong name the whole time as he's pinch hitting for Max McCormick. So here's Connor Donahue at the plate. Runners on the corners. First pitch is a curveball for a strike. 0-1. It was Connor Coma that we were actually looking at earlier that had a jersey swap earlier. It was him that had the scouts out for him. So it was funny, I didn't even notice that change until I had a couple of fans tell me. Here's a curveball, ground ball to the second baseman. He's going to turn it. This one will get under his glove and into the outfield, but no true advancement on that one as Albee scored an error on the second baseman. Donahue able to get on with an error, but an RBI. It is now 17-0 in this one. And that'll do it for Quintanilla. A tough night on the mound for Quintanilla, but he stuck it out for most of it. So we will take a break as we get ourselves a pitching change. Get to a pitching change here in this one on the Vype Sports Media Network. Opportunity here to talk about the last couple of innings for those who had in fact missed it. Pitching change, of course, presented in this game by Wally's Burger. Coming in as number 12, Jacob Cantu, the original shortstop in this one. So in the first inning we saw 7 runs come in. Anderson batted around the first time they did. Scored 9 in the second inning, which eventually brought us some new players into this game. A couple of pinch hitters that have made some momentum of their own. Will Livingston, of course, showing that glove over at first base. Making a diving stop over to his right and touching first. But we also want to mention the 3-run homer back in the first inning. The inside the park home run that was by Cooper Kitsy. A 3-run homer and an RBI walk in this game. And though it was an inside the parker, it was to the deep part of center field with what's basically Towles Hill from Houston. So a tough spot to be in for any outfielder and basically no man's land. Now what we see from Cantu is he's got a solid fastball and a good curveball that breaks left to right. A changeup that dies down very quickly. The fastball is definitely there for Cantu, so it's definitely something that the Trojans are going to be looking for and sitting on. That curveball is going to have to be waiting. But considering the fact they're playing the offense that's just mainly base hits and advance your base and don't show up unless you hit it out, won't be seeing too many curveballs being swung at, more than likely. Curveballs that aren't hanging, that is. Well, while we're at it, why don't we do a little bit of our segment of Today in Texas History presented by OnThisDay.com. As we like to mention, for every athletic coach and coordinator there is in the state of Texas, there is also more than likely a Texas history teacher or a history teacher in general. We'd like to incorporate the two things that Texans take the most pride in, their sports and their rich history in the great state of Texas. And we do that with our segment of Today in Texas History presented by OnThisDay.com. So March 16th in 1758, the Santa Cruz de San Saba mission was destroyed by 2,000 Comanches and their allies. 8 residents were killed and the mission buildings were burned. 1836, the Republic of Texas approved the Constitution. We'll take a second here to actually get back in the game for a moment. So Cantu comes into this game. Line drive, snagged by the third baseman, touches third base for 1, but will not go for more as he's able to get the force out on that one. So here's number 33, Braden Holman at the plate. Pitch hitting for Evan Dominguez. Runners on first and second as they just hit a hard ground ball over the third base, who was just trying to get that first out and get that quick force out, but not trying to do anything more. Playing the hero in this game, just trying to get that out that they can get. It's Braden Coleman that's at the plate right now. Just foul the first pitch back to the screen. 0-1 the count. Second pitch by Cantu, curveball low behind the catcher, 1-1. Well, back to 1861, we got Sam Houston resigned as governor in protest against secession. In 1894, John Wesley Hardin was pardoned and admitted to the bar. Arden had been sentenced to 25 years in prison for the murder of Charles Webb, and in 1909 in Lubbock, Texas, was incorporated as a city. So as a Texas Tech alum, that's some rich history right there. Pitch is a changeup on the outside corner, called for a strike 1-2. Today's Texas quote is by Tommy Time, which is, I think Texans have more fun than the rest of the world. I think I actually read that quote before. So that is your Today in Texas History presented by OnThisDay.com segment. Coleman swings and misses at the curveball and will be punched out. 2 away. A good curveball there by Cantu, who's able to just show that he's got a great off-speed pitch that breaks so hard on a right-handed batter. And it does so, and it shows to Cantu. 2 outs now. Line drive, second base. This one dies down. Here's the throw to first. This one is low and unable to get scooped up, and will get right past, but nobody's going to advance on that one. As Coleman will remain, or runners will remain on bases, I should say. So bases loaded now. 2 outs. Stepping up to the plate is number 23, Will Livingston. No, actually, that's not Livingston. I gotta hear who that was again. Don't have anything lined up. Pitch is inside for a ball, 1-0. Pinch hitter in this one, number 28, Evan Thakar. Thakar back to work in this one. He takes the first pitch for a ball. Thakar in his first at bat had a K looking. Change up for a strike, 1-1. Cantu showing again that deadly changeup he's got. So Thakar, what happened last at bat is he swung at a couple of pitches, but got to that 2-2 count, and unfortunately did not anticipate that pitch being in the zone. Here's the 1-1. High curveball, does not break in time for a ball, 2-1. Hung for a little too much time on that one as he looked to penetrate the strike zone. 2-1 the count. 2-1 pitch. Inside for a ball, 3-1. Almost hitting him. A little bit of music on that one. Stockhart is able to get out of the way. So far, Cantu shown that he's got good breaking stuff and that he's able to penetrate the strike zone really well in this one and get outs as needed. Here's the 3-1 pitch by Cantu. Line down the third base line. That's a fair ball as one run's going to score, and that's all that's going to score. And they're going to go ahead and do the force out. No. And what happened? They called it foul. It was foul on that one. So from our angle, wow. They called that foul. From our angle, it looked like it might have been fair, but of course we don't have as much of that straight down angle to see the line very well. So a 3-2 count. We get ourselves a payoff pitch by Cantu. Outside, called strike 3. As Thakar goes down looking for a second time. And we'll lead the bases loaded to this one. It's 1 run, 3 hits, 3 men left on base, and that will end the bottom of the 3rd inning with the score in this one. Anderson 17, Crockett nothing. We'll go to the top of the 4th. Be right back right after this on the Vype Sports Media Network. Trojans baseball on the Vype Sports Media Network. We are into the top of the fourth, and tell you what, Cantu was able to force their way out of the inning on that one, but of course Anderson knows now it's a blowout game and they're trying not to advance too many bases, and it showed a lot in the last inning as a lot of base hits and wild pitches were not being taken advantage of as easily. For those of y'all just tuning in, I'm Dalton Brown. Merle Bertos, our broadcasting director, Sid Van Cat, our product manager, and Skylar Calypsi, our quality analyst, bringing to you the action all right here on the Vype Sports Media Network. And of course we got a viewer message, and it actually comes from my old Little League teammate, or Pony League teammate, whatever we call it here in the Williamson County area, I should say. Travis Taylor actually saying that it is in fact a blowout. This game is in fact going crazy. We're actually getting an update right now of the World Baseball Classic, as right now Italy leads 2-1 in the top of the 7th to Venezuela. So a possible upset in the making right now. Another one in the World Baseball Classic that has already been filled with upsets. It's at the top of the inning now. Here's the first pitch by Velasquez. Fastball right down the middle, called for a strike, 0-1. So another pinch hitter coming into this game, this time now for Crockett. Number 21, Brody Wallace, as we had mentioned, made the replacement back in the first inning. I thought the first play of the game was a ground ball to the first baseman that seemed to injure him and take him out of this game as he fouls that one off and shakes off the hands. It is cold, and you know he felt this thing, and he's still feeling it off the end of the bat, and this weather is definitely going to sting. Here's your 0-2 pitch inside for a ball, 1-2. No, it called strike 3. Called strike 3 on the lower outside corner, as Velasquez is able to pound the zone yet again. His 7th strikeout on 3 pitches.
Number 11, Evan Dominguez.
That's just 3 highly executed pitches. He just went fastball, 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 no off-speed stuff. Just trying to get the zone, and Wallace looked like he was still in pain from the ground ball foul just a second ago as it went off his hands. That first pitch is a ball low, 1-0. So here's Evan Dominguez, grounded out his first at-bat on the first pitch. Second pitch to a high fastball, swing and miss for a strike, 1-1. Dominguez looks at the third pitch of the at-bat. This one's a ball, 2-1 the count. Like we mentioned just a second ago, Velasquez has been dealing in this one. 7 strikeouts in the first 10 batters of this one. Here's the pitch. Foul ball right behind the plate, and we'll do a 2-2 count. Now this inning, he has not been implementing his breaking stuff as much as he has been earlier in the game. He's seems to be just trying to get the fastball down over the plate, knowing that he's got 8 runs before the mercy rule is no longer in effect, so not trying to do too much with the pitch count. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Outside for a ball, 3-2, this time low and outside. Not able to clip that zone. That's a pitcher, like we just mentioned. Leads like this are such confidence boosters because you know that you can do basically whatever you want out there. You can pound the fastball, you can pound the zone a lot more and not have to worry about your pitch count or your lead. Here's the 3-2. Outside corner, called strike 3, and he knew it. 2 Ks in this one on the payoff pitch. 2 away. Velasquez has now his 8th strikeout of the game.
Now batting, number 12.
And pounding on the Ks in this one. Yeah, that's an excellent pitch right there. That time he went again with the fastball, this time going on the outside corner. And was able to clip it that second time. He was unable to do it on the 2-2 count. Just went a little bit higher and a lot more oomph on that pitch and was able to get the pitch he wanted executed. As that first pitch is on the outside corner of the left-handed batter for a strike. So here's Jacob Cantu at the plate. 0-1 pitch. That time of a changeup low in for a strike. 0-2 the count to Cantu came into this game as the pitcher in relief in the third inning. Starting off at shortstop. Last at bat he struck out on a 3-2 count in the first inning. 3-2 pitch to Cantu. Swing and a miss, strike 3. 3 Ks in this inning. Velasquez has 9 in this one. And that will do it for this inning. No runs, no hits, 3 strikeouts, and Velasquez gets a handshake from the manager. No hits given up, 1 walk through 4 innings of great work in this one. So we'll take a short break here, and actually I think that might be... I'll have to take a look here how we're doing here. So we'll take a short break on the Vype Sports Media Network. Bottom of the 4th coming up. JJ Velasquez absolutely shoved in this one, as a lot of the younger generation of baseball players like to say. A great performance out there on the mound. No true adversity in this one. 8 strikeouts. 8 Ks in this one through 4 innings of work. And one of the excellent jobs he was able to... Actually, no, correction, that's actually 9 Ks he was able to get in this one. I should say, we did count that as his 9th K of the game. Only base runner, of course, being that walk back in the 3rd inning that later turned into a double play by Will Livingston, who was able to make that diving play back in the 3rd. And now we have an update, actually, as Venezuela has taken a 3-2 lead here in the top of the 7th. They have runners on the corners, so we'll have to get an update later on how we actually got a part of that. Regardless, we return to the actual game that everyone's listening to. And back to the plate now. It's number 30. Number 30, Connor Smith. Hacks and misses at strike 1. That's actually Ben Hatcher at the plate, I should say. Hitting in this one. Hatcher had a 2 RBI single in his last at-bat pinch hitting. Here's the 0-1 by Cantu. Line drive in the right field. How about another base hit for Hatcher? This one drops down and will get past. Hatcher around second and head for third. Here he comes. He almost stumbles. Standing up with a triple. A leadoff triple for Ben Hatcher as he penetrated that one to the right center field gap. A leadoff triple.
Charlie Arnold.
And now that runner is now 90 feet from scoring and making it an 18-0 game. That was a good pitch right there. It was on the lower part of the plate, lower outside part of the plate. Good changeup, and that one was just poked out to right center field. Able to get enough on it to let it roll for a little bit of time. And why not go for third on that one? If you have an opportunity, you might as well. And that brings back in to the plate number 17, pinch hitter Charlie Arnold from earlier, who had a single in his last at bat. And actually saw Hedger get picked off. Cantu spikes a fastball for a ball, 2-0 the count. Hedger's last at bat was able to get a solid base hit before they did that pickoff move and that intentional out at third. After scoring 9 runs in the second, here's the 2-0. Curveball outside, called strike, 2-1, and umpires definitely expanding the zone with this lead, and why not? I mean, that is a common thing for most games here. Home plate umpire, you definitely notice a lead like this, you've got to expand the zone. Let the hitters know they can't just be looking at pitches. Here's a 2-1. Change up right down the middle, hacked at and missed for a strike. And you know Hedger that time was looking for the fastball. Came up a little too early, did not see that pitch dying down. It's a 2-2 count, so we go from 2-0 to 2-2 as Cantu is able to recover, getting 2 straight strikes. Here's the 2-2 pitch by Cantu. Cantu throws this one low for a ball and get ourselves a full count here, 3-2. Like we mentioned earlier, Venezuela right now from the update is up 3-2 to Italy in these World Baseball Classic semifinals in Miami, Florida. Winner moves on to play USA. 3-2 pitch by Cantu. Chopper past the shortstop for a base hit. Cantu with another run given up as Charlie Arnold gets his second single of the game, and this time for an RBI. It is 18-0. As Purple Rain plays, and my dad would be loving this right now. My dad actually saw. No way. Oh my gosh. No, my dad would absolutely love this. He actually went to see the Purple Rain tour in Austin when Prince performed that at the Frank Irwin Center, so I definitely have heard too many stories about that in the past couple of years. First pitch low and inside for a ball, 1-0. So I can say for sure Blake Gilligan now is my dad's favorite player more than likely on this squad. Bringing out the 80s classics in Prince. Gilligan on a 1-0 count. This one's outside as Cantu throws a fastball into the other batter's box for a 2-0 count. 80s rock music. Now that is a genre that is played more times than none in my truck, and my wife definitely gets annoyed. Actually, no, my wife likes that music, but you know, she knows as I play a lot of the same 3 artists back to back to back times. It's Queen, Bon Jovi, and Billy Joel every single time. Prince is definitely in the mix every now and then. He had that Super Bowl performance in the rain. I think it was back in 07. Here's the 3-0 pitch. This one's a changeup. Inside corner for a strike. 3-1 the count now to Gilligan. Well, so far Anderson has scored in every run in this game. Scored in every inning of this game. Here's a 3-1 pitch to Blake. This one pitch is high for a ball, and Gilligan will draw a walk.
Number 13, Kevin Ortega.
And Kevin Ortega will come to the plate in this one. Runner on first and second. Still nobody out. Of course, like we said, the expanded zone is definitely there, but you know, umpire definitely does not want to get too crazy with the expanded zone. Not call everything a strike, but definitely don't want to make the batters think they're going to get every call in this one. Here's the first pitch. Hacks at the fastball, strike 1, 0-1 to Kevin Ortega. Cantu blowing that first pitch right down the middle, right by him. He definitely was swinging for that pitch, but not coming up with it. Here's the 0-1. This one is low and in the dirt. This one will get away, but like we said, no advancement on that one. So nothing much to worry there. 1-1 the count to Ortega. Ortega came in as a pinch hitter for Cooper Chitsey. Guy who had that 3-run homer back in the first inning and a walk in this game. 4 RBIs in this one and started the breakout of this game. It was a 7-0 game after Chitsey's home run to center field. Here's the 1-1 pitch to by Cantu. This one swung and missed for a strike. And for those of y'all that aren't quite sure about the mercy rule, like we said earlier, it's after 4.5 innings, if the home team has more than 10 runs, that the mercy rule gets implied. So right here, Anderson will have to play the 5th inning and have more than 10 runs for this game to be over. So they will have to play the 5th inning still and shut down that inning. For those of y'all wondering back at home, there is no 15 runs after 3 in UIL high school baseball. It is only 10 after 4.5 or 10 after 5, depending on who has it. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Popped up, third base side, foul territory, and this one will be over the head and foul, as losing in the lights and unable to come up with that was Joel Ortega. Still a 2-2 count in this one. I think he just completely lost in those lights. I mean, he had it mistracked the entire way. Did not seem to find it anywhere. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Inside corner, called strike 3 as Kevin Ortega goes down on strikes. Second strikeout of the game for Cantu. 2 away. Rings up Connor Donahue. Actual Connor Donahue. Like we said, there was a bit of a mix-up earlier in the game. We confused Como for Donahue. First pitch, line drive in the left field. Down the line, foul. This will go out of play. Connor got a rip into that one, though, and you can hear his teammates in the dugout oohing and ahhing on that rip. 0-1 count as he just swung at a high fastball early on. He knew what he was looking for and turned on it a little much. Right away, foul. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Donahue. Curveball in the dirt for a ball, 1-1. In his first at bat, Donahue reached on an error that did not advance more than one base. 1 run scored on it, but nobody else moved other than that. Donahue being the one of many players getting some pinch hit opportunities in this one. Here's the 1-1 by Cantu. Change up low for a ball, 2-1. Like we mentioned, Cantu has gotten some good strikeout stuff in this one. He's got 2 strikeouts in this one. Both of them looking. And he's done an excellent job. Actually, 1 swing and 1 looking, correction. This pitch is low for a ball, 3-1. Nobody will advance on that one. You know, when I think about games like this, you think about controversies that happen with games like this, especially back in 2020 when Fernando Tatis hit that home run on a 3-0 count, I should say, with the bases loaded against the Rangers in a 7-0 game that former manager Chris Woodward was not a big fan of. Here's a 3-1 pitch. This one's low for a ball, and he will take his base. So
now batting number 7, Jude.
Connor Donahue was able to reach twice in this one. Once by way of error and once by way of error. And we definitely heard Jude Venner get his walk-up song. And teammates seem to really love it, getting a little Katy Perry action in this one. It's funny, as my wife was just singing that song the other day. I've heard this song one too many times over the past 12 years. It's Actually, funny, this was a song that I played in middle school, or came out while I was in middle school, I should say. Actually, I might have actually been younger than that. Definitely was either 5th grade or middle school that song came out. So bases loaded, Cantu. Need to take a second to meet with his manager. We will actually get another update on the World Baseball Classic, and let's see what we got. Four hits in a row. 4-2 the score now as it's reached the top of the 8th. Venezuela now up 4-2 as Italy has found themselves in a rough state. But of course, this is an Italian team that has been a hitting, slugging team, so you know that the bats are going to come out within the bottom of the 8th inning. So anyways, we come right back to it and bringing back Jude Viner at the plate. Bases loaded, 1 out. First pitch to Jude. Cantu throws that first pitch breaking ball low for a ball, 1-0. So 18-0 still. Bases loaded, 1 out. Opportunity here for Venar to be able to make a little bit of revenge for that walk-up song. This is a change-up for a ball, 2-0. It's 9:28 p.m. here in Austin, Texas. This game has not gone to the 2-hour mark quite yet. We're 2 minutes away from the 2-hour mark. Here's the 2-0 pitch on the way. This pitch is low for a ball, 3-0 the count to Viner. It's Viner, I should actually say. It is Viner, I should say. This pitch is high for a ball as Viner draws a walk, bringing another run. 19-0. Braden Coleman now coming up to the plate. Coleman in his last at-bat was actually the strikeout victim. Strikeout swinging. First strikeout for Cantu in this one. Like we mentioned earlier, today's game is sponsored by Lowy Law Firm. And the starting lineups from earlier were presented by the Carlson Law Firm. First pitch is a ball, 1-0. It's now down to the low temps of tonight, 40 degrees here in Austin, Texas. Feels like 38. This is a high fly ball into center field, camping under this one. And this one actually goes over his head and will roll all the way to the wall. 1 run will score as Braden Coleman will be forced with a single. And they're going to go ahead and do the intentional 2 outs and get this inning finished. So there's 1. And there's 2, a double play, and that is the end of the inning. So 20-0 to score in this one. Braden Coleman with an RBI single that turned into a double play. And that will conclude the bottom half of this inning. 3 runs on that inning on 4 hits. And we will head to the top of the 5th. Score 20-0. Your Trojans lead. Back on the mound for this one is J.J. Vasquez. Vasquez has 9 strikeouts in this game. An excellent performance so far by him on the mound. Only one base runner allowed via walk. Like we mentioned just a second ago, this game has been a very one-sided affair as the Trojans have been able to execute on all sides of the field, and Velasquez now not only has a cushion, but a lot more than that. As not only does he have a 20-0 lead, but he's got to give up 11 runs in order for this game to continue. So a tough task at hand, and something that you know that he'll be able to adjust to. And first batter he will face is the original starting pitcher in this one, Gail Quintanilla, coming to the plate. Quintanilla at the plate, looking to try and continue this one. First pitch by Velasquez. Chopper to short. Charging in for this one. Throw to first in time for the out. One away. Nice play there on the ground ball by shortstop Jude Viner, who was able to make that play, and he actually drew that walk earlier. So one pitch, one out. Quintanilla's retired quickly. Now stepping into the plate for Crockett. It's a pinch hitter.
JT Martinez.
Here's number 10, JT Martinez at the plate, pinch hitting for Eric Dacey. So this first pitch is low for a ball, 1-0. Martinez looking to add a base runner for this game. Need a second base runner here for the Cougars. Here's a 1-0. Pitch is high, fastball, ball, 2-0 to count. Velasquez. Tried to force a swing on a high pitch, trying to get him to pop up, but no bite there. 2-0 to count. Here's the 2-0 pitch to Martinez. Pitch is outside corner, called for a strike, 2-1, as he just pounds the fastball yet again, as he's been doing for the past 2 or 3 innings. Haven't seen much breaking stuff from him since the first and second innings. Here's a 2-1. Another high fastball for a ball, 3-1, as he's trying to attack the high part of the zone. JJ trying to, of course, get away from the cold weather, and he knows what he's been doing this game, and I'm sure it's a little bit of pressure for that part, but we will not say live on the air right now. Here's a 3-1 pitch to Martinez. This one's fouled to the first base side, out of play, 3-2 the count to Martinez. And Martinez kind of just poked his bat out on that one, knew that he was late on it, just wanted to force some sort of contact, and he got that, and it was out of play. It's one of those swings where you know you're going to be late, but you just want to make contact. Here's the 3-2 pitch to Martinez on the way. Pitch is low for a ball, as Martinez will reach first base. That'll be Velasquez's second walk of the game. Runner on first, the second base runner now for the Cougars, and it brings under 14 Jacob Hernandez.
Number 14, Jacob Henderson.
Excuse me, Henderson, I should say. Runner on first base, 1 out, Jacob Henderson, who struck out his last at bat. Was a part of that immaculate inning from the second inning. The last victim of that. Here's the first pitch to Henderson for a strike. 0-1 on the outside corner. Everyone in the Trojans dugout on their feet. Here's the 0-1. Pitch is low outside, 1-1 the count. Henderson, as there will be a ball switch. Henderson, this one, has had some tough play out in out in center field Saw that home run go over his head and had a couple of plays that go over his head. Here's the 2-1. This one's on the outside corner, penetrate for a strike. 1-2 the count to Henderson. One-two count. Here's the pitch. Strike 3. Swing and a miss. Velasquez registers K number 10 in this one. And there is 2 away in this one. And stepping up to the plate now is Rocky Rangel, who had walked his first at bat and then got doubled off on that Livingston double play. 2 outs in this one. First pitch. Pitch is high for a ball, 1-0. The entire Trojans dugout still on their feet for this one. Runner on first, 2 outs. 1 out away. Fastball called for a strike, 1-1 as he blew that one right past Rangel. Rangel knows the fastball is coming and still trying to catch up to it, as a lot of these batters have seemed to do in this one. Here's a 1-1. Outside corner, called strike 2, 1-2 the count to Rocky Rangel. J.J. Velasquez on a wonderful performance. Curveball high and inside for a ball, 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. It is 9:38 p.m. here in Austin, Texas. Velasquez comes set. Here's the pitch. Strike 3, a no-hitter for J.J. Velasquez!
And now we'll do it. The Anderson Trojans the Crockett.
J.J. Velasquez, 11 strikeouts through 5 innings, a no-hitter with only 2 walks in this game. What a performance by J.J. in this one, in a cold night where he was still able to bring some heat. 11 strikeouts in this game, and a 20-0 victory for the Trojans in this game. So we'll take a short break here on the Vype Sports Media Network, go into a post-game show. We'll be right back right after that, after this commercial break. Well, tonight's game was definitely not one of those close back-and-forth games that you usually get, but a 20-0 victory overall for the Trojans, and a game that we saw still having some huge momentum, even for a blowout. J.J. Velasquez, what a performance tonight. 2 walks, 11 strikeouts, a no-hitter in a 5-inning mercy rule. A wonderful performance on the mound by J.J. Congratulations to that kid for coming away with the historic achievement in UIL baseball and in baseball in general. And of course, like we mentioned, the offensive onslaught tonight here, 20-0, a 5-inning version of that Rangers game back in 2007 against Baltimore, which saw a lot of offensive sparks and eventually pinch hitters coming in the 3rd inning. And you know that when you start getting pinch hitters in the late part of the 2nd inning, that you are seeing a game that is full of offense, and you know that your team's hitting is on cue tonight. Despite that, the 2 pitchers, Gail Quintanilla and Jacob Cantu, were able to combine for 4 strikeouts in this one, and of course the lack of pitching depth showed early on as Quintanilla was able to stay in this one until the 3rd inning of this game. Like we said earlier, a big home run earlier by Cooper Poughkeepsie, who was able to get that 3-run home run back in the first inning to make it that 7th run of the first inning and start that cap opening for the Trojans. And, of course, multiple offensive performance in this one that were definitely looked at. And J.J. Velasquez now getting a bit of a dog pile right now, a miniature dog pile over there by their dugout, and that kid's going to go home tonight with more than just ice on his shoulder. He's going to go back with a new feeling of being able to say through a no-hitter this season. And that is a huge amount of confidence that this team will be able to have going forward for this season. Well, that's going to do it tonight for our coverage of Trojans baseball from Austin, Texas, here at Nelson Field. For Mo Barton, our broadcasting director, for Suda Venkat, our product manager, and Skylar Gillespie, our quality analyst, and for the wonderful folks at home listening to this game, my name is Dalton Brown, saying thank y'all for tuning into this game here on the Vype Sports Media Network for baseball, the great game, the American pastime. And of course, I want to say I appreciate Merle for letting me back up Jack in this one to take his spot tonight for this game. Hopefully I did somewhat a good job. Tonight's game sponsored by Lowy Law Firm. Final 20-0 in this game. The Trojans able to come away with this one. We say so long to all y'all listening in on the Vype Sports Media Network. Good night, everybody. God bless you all. We'll see you guys next time from Trojans Baseball here on the network.